Hey guys, and welcome to Natural Aesthetics. This video features training clips from each of my 4 sessions last week. Some of the exercises aren't included, but you can generally get the gist of what I'm doing each session. So I thought I'd use this video to talk about caffeine and why I don't use it anymore. I've had a few queries about the subject, so I thought I'd chat about it during this video. So it all started earlier this year when I fell ill in March. I remember training on a Monday. I had a pre-workout prior to training and I felt really rough after the training session. This continued through the evening and I couldn't sleep at night. Very poor sleep. Woke up the next day and felt much the same, kind of jittery, just weird, very tired. I felt like I'd been poisoned. That's the best way I can put it. Again, for 3 or 4 nights really, didn't sleep properly at night at all. Noticed some weird side effects starting to take place noticeably. Lack of temperature sensation on the right side, it kind of felt warm and fuzzy, the whole right side of my body. And this all really happened a few hours after training with this pre-workout, and I woke up and it was much worse. And the left side of my body started to become quite weak and clumsy as the days went on. It wasn't really until a week later that I got into hospital. Now I don't want to talk about this too much in depth, as I want the video to be quite short. But basically they tested for a stroke, which was negative, and they found some nerve inflammation. Now the next point of call from that would be to test for things like MS, which they've been doing. I actually only recently went for another checkup to test for that. So I've since been dealing with some of the side effects. I had to work for a few months to get left side of my body back up to strength, which is good now. I still feel kind of odd in my right side in terms of temperature sensation, and my left side still sometimes feels a little bit harder to get a pump on than the right side. Just subtle things like that. But overall, it's been improving steadily over the last few months. You know, it may have been a coincidence that it was caused by this pre-workout. The consultant said it was probably unlikely, but not impossible. And I believe wholeheartedly that there was something in that supplement that caused these symptoms to start, or at least triggered something. And if I hadn't have had it, I doubt I would have been in hospital and been ill. And if I look back at the time that when I became ill, my lifestyle was certainly less than optimal. Things you don't really think about at the time. I was working a hell of a lot. My hours were long, being a PT. Wasn't sleeping enough. Diet wasn't the best. In search for more and more calories to continue the bulk, I was choosing foods that I really wouldn't usually eat and didn't frankly enjoy eating, but were generally higher in calories, easier to eat processed foods. Now I've since dropped my calories right down and focused more on quality of food as opposed to quantity, and I will do for the foreseeable future. A lot of these foods are toxic and can and will cause problems in the body eventually, especially when combined with other lifestyle stresses such as lack of sleep, too much caffeine and too much stress. I'll be doing some more videos on food and my thoughts on it over the next few weeks. On top of that, caffeine usage. I would have a cup of coffee in the morning and I just felt like I was becoming more reliant upon it and more dependent upon it. Whereas go back 2 to 3 years, I'd never touched caffeine. I never had any coffee in my life up to that point. And I was also having it before training, you know, being tired, doing too much work, not sleeping enough, trying to hide the fact that I needed to rest more and sort my hydration out, sort my food out, sort my sleep out, and sort my lifestyle out. Instead, you just take more caffeine. To train the way that I wanted to train, I got into a position where I had to drink caffeine, just as many trainers, bodybuilders and athletes are out there doing at the moment, and it's not right. Yes, caffeine improves performance. There are certain benefits of using it and drinking coffee and whatnot, but the negatives far outweigh the positives. So I would either take a pre-workout or a cup of coffee, a very strong cup of coffee prior to training. So since the illness, basically, you know, I thought possibly that caffeine might perhaps have played some part in causing it. Probably didn't, but it certainly could have been another factor that perhaps contributed to it, caffeine in itself. So I haven't touched caffeine since. I haven't had a cup of coffee, and I don't think I ever will. There's no need. I didn't really drink it for the taste anyway. I drank it because it was a stimulant, and it helped me to get up in the morning and to train hard. And now, 7-8 months later, still haven't had a drop of caffeine, and I feel better. I feel less tired. I feel less sluggish. I feel like I need it less prior to training. So that just goes to show you that it's a fallacy, really. You get hooked on it, and you think that you are dependent upon it. You think you need it to train hard, to train at the levels you need to. Pre-workouts are complete and utter no-go. I'll never take a pre-workout, well, certainly not a mainstream pre-workout, ever again. Combining caffeine with taurine and other chemicals, and the crap that goes into them is just crazy. In long term, caffeine will cause you problems, and I'll go into that in a minute. And whatever problems are created by caffeine in the long term, it's going to be tenfold if you're using pre-workouts. There's no getting around that. It's, as it is, they're poison, and you should not take them. So that's a no-go completely and utterly. Now, the reason why caffeine is perhaps not as good as you think it might be, the half-life of caffeine is 4 to 6 hours. So that basically means every 4 to 6 hours, the level of caffeine in your bloodstream will halve. So if you're having a strong pre-workout with caffeine of, say, 350 milligrams, okay, that's 175 milligrams 4 to 6 hours later. Another 4 to 6 hours later after that, you've still got over 80 milligrams of caffeine in your bloodstream. Another 4 to 6 hours, you've still got 40 milligrams in your bloodstream. So you can see that how a strong cup of coffee or pre-workout can affect you throughout the day, even if you have it earlier on. If you have it in the afternoon or evening, then you know for sure that your sleep is going to be messed up. You're not going to get a good deep sleep, and you're going to get into REM, rapid eye movement, as easily as you would do without it. And not to mention the pre-workout, you're also getting other ingredients and other chemicals that are going to exacerbate those effects. So it's a really bad idea in terms of mucking up your sleep. Quite recent research from the Johns Hopkins Medical School, and it shows that performance increase due to caffeine intake is only the result of the caffeine drinkers experiencing a short-term reversal of caffeine withdrawal. And caffeine-related performance improvement is non-existent without caffeine withdrawal. Coming off the caffeine reduces your cognitive performance and has a negative impact on your mood. And the only way to get back to normal is to drink caffeine. And when you do it, you feel like it's improving your cognitive functions, your ability to concentrate and think clearly. So that's quite interesting. And I would agree with that through personal experience as well. Being now caffeine free completely, I don't feel in any way impaired as to when I was taking caffeine. But when you're taking caffeine, you think that the caffeine's helping you because it's providing a kick when you're in caffeine withdrawal. And that's the problem with caffeine. And also a lot of the coffee that we drink in general is very, very poor quality with a lot of other chemicals and crap in it. Generally the products are produced in LEDCs where there's little to no guidelines on herbicides, pesticides. I mean, anything sprayed on it that wouldn't be allowed in other countries. And that's kind of the low grade coffee that we usually drink. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and hope you actually learnt a little bit. Just remember that these are my opinions based off of personal experiences and some of the research that I've been doing since I've been ill earlier this year. And I'd like to talk about a few more subjects really that being ill sort of opened my eyes up to, that I'd never really thought about before, but can influence health and longevity of health and life, stuff like that I'd like to share with you. Just to sum up, there is no doubt that caffeine improves athletic performance. If I were to squat 1 rep max with a large dose of caffeine or stimulant pre-workout, then I would squat more than if I hadn't ever had that. But in terms of caffeine's effect on the cognitive function, then that's debatable, especially with this new research in mind. Also, bear in mind the side effects of caffeine, the fact that it is still a stimulant. It can cause adrenal stress, weakening of the immune system, diminished sex drive, and it is a diuretic which can cause constipation, and not to mention the effects on sleep, bearing in mind its half-life, and sleep is essential for recovery and for health in general, and optimal training. Then it doesn't make it worthwhile. It's a small benefit for a massive negative. Apply what I've said to your own knowledge, guys. Don't follow blindly. Take it with a pinch of salt, but think about what I've said and perhaps how you can apply that to your own training and lifestyle. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay strong.